Anything else? I think it covers.
Yes.
You can explain this hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. على أنقاب المدينة ملائكة لا يدخلها الدجال ولا الطاعون. على أنقاب المدينة ملائكة لا يدخلها الدجال ولا الطاعون.
والطاعون.
طاعون يسلم.
This is in fact a prophecy about a township which will be protected by Allah from these two calamities, Dajjal and Ta'un. And in fact, that township has to be the seat of the Messiah, because it is the Messiah who is going to fight it out, who is going to save people from the influence of Dajjal. Hazrat Masih Maud ﷺ, with reference to this in his verse, says, in praying for his children, he says, Naave inke ghar tak robe Dajjal. O Allah, see to it that even the awe of Dajjal is prevented from entering their homes. They have no awe, no fear of Dajjal. So this is the prophecy about Qadian, a Medina, a township where God has not permitted Dajjal to enter through his robe, through his influence, through his awe, through his fear. And secondly, Ta'un will not be permitted to enter and play havoc the area where such people live, as have been mentioned in this hadith. And this is exactly what happened with the grace of Allah. During Ta'un, in Qadian or around Hazrat Masih Maud houses, people were dying in large numbers out of Ta'un. That is plague. And who prevented Ta'un to cross over the wall and enter the premises of Masih Maud? And he repeatedly wrote in those days, so that anybody who has to object should come and forward and prove the claim to be wrong. In one place, Hazrat Masih Maud says that in the area which has been specially protected by God, not even a mouse fell ill from Ta'un or died out of Ta'un. If it fell ill, it was cured somehow. Not a single rat or mouse was found dead in the Char Diwari, we call it, within the four walls of Hazrat Masih Maud family houses. Now, at the same time, he took precaution to move out of the settled urban area into the open air. And this is also very important to be noted. When Allah promises He will save you, it does not mean that you should be careless and invite trouble because God will save you. This is an insult to or disrespect to God. Once Hazrat Umar Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu asked for the camp to strike and move from there. From where? Because it was said there was Ta'un or some plague like this in that area. Hazrat Umar Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu said, come on, let's strike, with what they call, the camp should be lifted and let's move on. And one of the companions of Hazrat Rasulullah Sallam, he didn't like this order. He said, "Oh Umar," he was an older man and he addressed Hazrat Umar Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu by addressing, or perhaps he said, Amirul Mu'mineen, Ya Amirul Mu'mineen, are you running away from decree of Allah? Don't you know that this town is a decree of God? How can you escape from the decree of Allah? You know what the answer was? What a wonderful, what a beautiful thing for Hazrat Umar to say. He said, I am running away from decree of Allah to the decree of Allah. Who can escape the decree of Allah? show me one place where there is no decree of Allah. So within decree of Allah, there is one type of decree and other type of decree. You can't run away from decree of Allah, but from one decree to another decree. So he said, this is nature. God has told us to use our wisdom and to use means whatever possible to escape some decrees in favor of some other decrees. And Hazrat Masih also moved away from the houses and advised Ahmadis to come and live in the open. Yet he also returned to the houses. Yet there were some people who were living in the built-in area who remained there and nothing happened. So this is the meaning of this township, which is safe from Ta'un. And it so happened that not a single member of Hazrat Masih's family died of Ta'un, while people around Qadian were dying like rats. What prevented Ta'un to jump the wall and enter the house? And again, there were one or two cases reported of apparent Ta'un, like Maulvi Muhammad Ali Sahib of Lahore, who later renegated and created a new sect in Ahmadiyyat, which is the Lahori sect. He is the leader. He sometimes showed the lack of faith, more so after the death of Islam, but during his lifetime also he wavered. So when he suffered from a fever, which was accompanied by the tons, what do you call, this, the glands which were swollen like the Ta'un glands, and they were typical signs of Ta'un, and he was running high fever, and he became very restless, and he sent Hazrat Masih a message that I am suffering from Ta'un within your Char Diwari, which means that I am a servant of yours, I live here in the vicinity of your houses, and yet this has happened to me. He says, no, it's not possible. He said, I'm coming. When he reached there, Hazrat Muhammad Ali Sahib was suffering from such high fever that the thermometer refused to record it. It shot up and nobody knows what happened afterwards, because the limit of thermometer was over. As Mr. entered, he said, Maulvi Sahib, who says you are suffering from plague? Let me see. He touched his forehead with his hand and there was no fever. When it disappeared and how, nobody knows, but we have witnesses of such pious people who could not even dream of telling lies. And there was not just one man. The whole the group of companions who were with Masih swore by God that this is exactly what we saw. And Maulvi Muhammad Ali lived a long life afterwards, and he remained a witness to this fact. There he was suffering from high fever, and he complained almost as if accusing Masih. Look here, what has happened to me? Who told you are suffering from? No. He touched, said, where is the fever? I don't see any fever. And the doctor rushed and took the temperature. There was no temperature. He was absolutely normal. Lived to a ripe old age. So this is the meaning of that hadith, that there will be a township which will be saved from Allah, by Allah, from the influence of Ta'un or the havoc is placed. And the second thing you mentioned is Ta'un and Dajjal. That I already told. The robe Dajjal will not enter. Qadian is the only country where a war was waged against Dajjal, and it was carried out to the whole world, all the corners. And with the grace of Allah, we are winning. Not a year has passed since when we had to retreat. We are making advances further and further. Got it?